Hi, welcome to our channel Programming a Mind, where we accelerate your knowledge with concise, from high-value book summaries. Let's begin. The Yogic discipline, mastery over the mind and self. As Arjuna becomes more receptive to Krishna's teachings, the dialogue begins to shift toward the methods of applying the wisdom he has received. In this section, Krishna explains in detail the concept of yoga, not just as a series of physical postures, but as a comprehensive spiritual discipline for achieving self-mastery, wisdom, and union with the divine. The essence of Krishna's guidance is that to achieve liberation, one must conquer the mind, practice steady discipline, and strive for constant awareness. Yoga, in this context, becomes the practical method of self-transformation, an active and conscious path to realizing the unity of the self with the Supreme. The role of the mind in yoga, the battle within. Krishna begins by addressing one of the most important obstacles in spiritual practice, the mind. The mind, Krishna explains, is both a friend and an enemy. It is the mind that shapes our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions of reality. When disciplined, the mind becomes an ally, helping the individual move closer to the divine. But when undisciplined, the mind can lead a person into confusion, doubt, and suffering. Krishna says, the mind is restless, turbulent, and difficult to control, but it can be controlled with practice and detachment. One who has conquered the mind has conquered the world. This teaching holds a key insight into the nature of human suffering. Many of our struggles, whether they are internal conflicts, emotional pain, or dissatisfaction, arise from an uncontrolled mind. The mind's constant fluctuations create attachment to desires and aversions, causing anxiety, stress, and inner turmoil. Through yoga, one can train the mind to focus on the present moment, silence its distractions, and experience inner peace. Krishna emphasizes that the practice of yoga is not just for the body, but for the mind. A disciplined mind allows a person to experience the transcendence of ego, move past emotional turbulence, and attain clarity. Without this inner harmony, all external actions, no matter how well-meaning, remain trapped in the cycle of attachment and suffering. The true nature of yoga, union of the self with the divine. Yoga, in the truest sense, is the process of uniting the individual self with the divine. It is not simply a physical practice or a mental discipline, but a spiritual journey towards self-realization. Krishna teaches that yoga is a path of devotion, meditation, and wisdom, all intertwined into a single transformative practice. Krishna explains, yoga is the art of transforming the mind, the body, and the heart into a tool for discovering the divine within. It is not about physical prowess, but about establishing inner balance and harmony with the Supreme. This explanation of yoga as a union with the divine reflects a fundamental shift in the way yoga is often perceived today. In many modern contexts, yoga is reduced to a form of exercise. However, in the original context of the Gita, yoga is an integrated spiritual practice that leads one towards enlightenment. By aligning one's body, mind, and soul with the divine, yoga serves as the means to break the bonds of illusion and suffering. For Arjuna, the realization that yoga is not about mere physical postures, but about a deep spiritual union, brings a profound sense of purpose. He understands that his duty on the battlefield, although physically demanding, is also an opportunity to practice the discipline of yoga by engaging in the world with a focused mind and devotion to the divine. The ideal yogi, characteristics of the enlightened practitioner. Krishna goes on to describe the qualities of the ideal yogi. The true yogi, Krishna explains, is one who is detached from the fruits of their actions and remains equanimous in both success and failure. Such a person views all beings with equal vision, recognizing the same divine essence in everyone and everything. Krishna says, a yogi is one who is free from desire, who sees all beings as equal, who is content with whatever comes, and who is always absorbed in the contemplation of the divine. They are unaffected by pain, joy, or material success. The qualities of a true yogi include serenity, patience, humility, and compassion. The yogi is not attached to any particular outcome, but remains steadfast in their spiritual practice and devotion. In this way, yoga becomes not just a tool for personal transformation, but a means of bringing peace, compassion, and balance into the world. For Arjuna, these teachings offer clarity. He begins to see that his role as a warrior, as someone who must fight in the battle, can be approached with the mindset of a yogi. In the heat of the battlefield, he can still cultivate the qualities of a yogi: detachment, equanimity, and compassion. By aligning his inner life with the divine, his external actions will also reflect that higher wisdom. The journey of the yogi, the need for consistent practice. Krishna explains that the path to spiritual enlightenment requires consistent practice. While the mind may wander, the yogi must continually bring it back to the present moment, and the discipline of meditation must be a regular and ongoing practice. Krishna stresses that the yogi is never satisfied with short bursts of spiritual practice, but must persist until the mind is fully absorbed in the divine. Krishna advises Arjuna, the yogi who constantly practices with determination, without being distracted by other desires, reaches the ultimate state of realization. Just as the sun burns away the fog, so too does the light of wisdom burn away all ignorance. This analogy highlights the importance of perseverance. Just as the sun, over time, dispels the darkness, so too does steady spiritual practice dispel the clouds of confusion, attachment, and ego. Arjuna must be patient with himself and trust the process, understanding that the journey of self-mastery is gradual but transformative. In real life, this teaching encourages us to keep going, even when we encounter challenges or setbacks. Whether in spiritual practice or in any other area of life, consistency and determination are key to overcoming obstacles and reaching higher states of awareness and wisdom. The nature of detachment, letting go of attachment. A central teaching in this part of Krishna's discourse is the importance of detachment. Detachment does not mean renouncing life or ignoring one's responsibilities. Instead, it refers to the ability to perform one's duties without attachment to the results. Krishna emphasizes that actions should be performed selflessly, with a focus on the process, not the outcome. Krishna says, the true renunciant is one who performs their duties without attachment to the fruits of their actions. They act without any desire for personal gain, and their heart remains unaffected by success or failure. This lesson encourages Arjuna and us to move through life with a sense of detachment. When we perform our actions without clinging to the desire for specific outcomes, we free ourselves from the cycle of expectation and disappointment. Our peace and joy are not contingent on external circumstances, but are rooted in our inner connection to the divine. In practical terms, this teaching helps us shift from an outcome-oriented mindset to a process-oriented one. Whether it's our career, relationships, or personal growth, the ability to be detached from the results allows us to experience more freedom, joy, and less frustration. The role of the mind in meditation, achieving steadfastness. The practice of meditation is central to the yogic discipline, and Krishna emphasizes that the mind must be trained to remain steady and undistracted. Through meditation, a yogi can transcend the turbulence of worldly desires and enter into a state of peaceful, focused awareness. Krishna encourages Arjuna to meditate on the divine, seeing the supreme in all beings, and thereby dissolving the sense of separateness that leads to suffering. Krishna says, the mind, when it is properly trained, becomes a faithful servant of the soul. It leads the practitioner toward the realization of the divine and is no longer a source of distraction or turmoil. Arjuna is told that meditation is not about the absence of thoughts, but about cultivating the ability to focus the mind, train it, and direct it toward a higher truth. As Arjuna's practice deepens, the mind becomes an instrument for spiritual realization rather than a source of distraction. The goal of yoga, attaining union with the divine. The ultimate goal of yoga, Krishna explains, is not just to attain personal peace or bliss, but to experience oneness with the divine. The yogi, through persistent practice, reaches a state where the duality of self and other disappears, and the individual consciousness merges with the universal consciousness. This state of union is the highest state of being, where one experiences ultimate freedom, peace, and bliss. Krishna says, "The yogi who attains union with me, who sees me in all beings and all beings in me, is the highest of all yogis. They experience eternal peace, for they know that they are one with the Supreme." This is the ultimate realization, understanding that the individual self is not separate from the divine. It is the realization of the interconnectedness of all things, where the boundaries between the self and the world, between the finite and the infinite, dissolve. Thank you for listening, and please like the video and subscribe for more great upcoming content that will put you in top 1% people in the world.